Hello tankers and tankettes, welcome to one of my replays, and it's the FV4202, the tier 10 British medium tank. Now, it's a reasonably capable machine, but it doesn't do anything particularly well. It doesn't do any one thing particularly well, but it did actually get a buff in, was it 9.3? Or was it 9.2? I can't even remember, but it basically had a rate of fire buff, so it got a bit better than it was. It's still not the best by any means, but it's not terrible. You get the same gun that you do on the Centurion 7.1, but somehow the Centurion 7.1 is just more fun to play than this thing is, even though in some ways this is the better machine. It actually has a usable amount of frontal armor, which you can occasionally bounce shells from, but the turret really isn't particularly good. It's not. You can't rely on it at all. The Centurion turret, it can be penned, but the gun mantle up means that you can get some fairly troll bounces off it. This is just unlikely to bounce, really, most things. I'm with Zircon and Foch, and really the theme of today's replay, it's not so much about the tank, it's not so much about, hey look at me, I'm a great player, but whenever, is that the case? It's more about outrageous fortune. And it's going to be the good kind, I guess, as opposed to what Shakespeare was talking about. So we're moving into the valley. It's myself, Foch, Zircon behind us in the Death Star. We've got a Lorraine, a Batchat, a T-34, in fact a trio of T-34s. And we're actually going to encounter quite a lot of the enemy tier 10s. And we can see there T-57 and hello Leo. Now the Leo gets, I think, pretty much the same gun. And yeah, no, I don't know how much bounce on Leo, but that was a total snapshot. He's got the same gun. I think he gets some better gun handling stats. It's certainly the more mobile machine. No, T57, don't come up here. Yeah, I don't really start off having the best luck or taking the best shots or being the best player in this one. And it's not done yet. I'm going to do something even more silly. And really, I'm going to continue to do silly things. I rely maybe a bit much on the fact that this gun is very good at snapshotting, just with the gun handling it gets. Zircon goes for the Leopard, which could have been a beautiful shot, and instead RNG trolled him as well. And yeah, there we go. See, just totally unnecessarily took a hit from the T-57 right through the front of the turret. And I'm down 800 hit points already, so yeah, 850 in fact. This isn't looking particularly good in terms of numbers versus numbers. We've already lost, I think, one tank. Oh no, we didn't lose the Lorraine, he just went off into the middle and is now possibly going to die versus the enemy T-34s. But we do seem to be a bit outmatched in terms of firepower. And having lost a bunch of health already, I'm not terribly inclined to be aggressive, but I keep peeking. And this is the part where I start to get lucky. I just bounced T-57 heavy shells, yes. And that was more to do with the fact that he was shooting at such an angle that, how I'm angled on this slope, it gives extra angle to the turret, and therefore I was getting a bit lucky with my bounces. But I really shouldn't be, counting on this. I shouldn't be just sitting here waiting for him to pop out, especially. It's not the soundest plan I've ever had, but I'm not at my best in mediums, especially mediums without that much armour. Although, having said that, this thing does get, like I mentioned, some frontal armour to work with, so it's not all bad. And again, I'm just, being ridiculously lucky, and we're not done yet. The T-34s took care of the Lorraine, so it's coming behind us, and we are being pushed on, we're being encircled. I mean, the net is really closing around us right now, so it's not looking good particularly. Oh yeah, hello E100, don't want to dance with that gun. He could easily shave off the majority of the remainder of my hit points, so I'm just backing down now. I can maybe, that's the kind of shot I'm not good at. I can maybe try for a shot with his vision bar, but it's taking that kind of snapshot. Also, I've not noticed that the stuff behind me, which I probably should be paying attention to, because I'm going to get shot in the butt quite shortly. However, I'm managing to, I'm at last playing with hard cover a little bit more, and They're trying to sweep us up. We're actually holding out longer than you would think, looking at what's available. I know that's a big hit, but we're still being sorely pressed. There's a T-34 that's coming up behind me, which I haven't noticed at all yet. I'm completely focused on this E100, but yeah, there's some hit points I could have stood to have kept. Now, if I can keep the E100 tracked, but the E75's pushing round, and it's down to just us three. Zircon takes out the Leo though before he goes. Foch is being sorely pressed as well, and I managed to bounce on the side of the E75. And hello, there's the enemy Death Star. Zircon goes down. If I can take out that low health T57 Heavy, that makes things a bit easier. And he shot my tracks. Yes. Yes, did I mention that I get outrageously lucky in this particular game? And I think that also went in my tracks, the E75 shot. That wasn't even frontal armour, that was just all tracks. Now, we had a bunch of people that didn't really press round. We're at 9 and 9, and so this isn't looking like an automatic loss. We could still pull this back, but I'm the only person left over here, so if I am to get any fire support, I need the enemy tanks to sort of come more this way. I need to draw them towards me. And again, with the outrageous luck, that almost, you know, certainly would have penned sort of 9 times out of 10, maybe. I don't know exactly the angle he shot me at, but the gun on the E75 is certainly enough to pen this. So I'm just trying to draw this guy forward, falling back. I think Zircon and Foch were not quite sure what I was doing at this point, but it was my intention to draw this E100 in front of enemy guns. However, there we go, our artillery gets him. There is also enemy artillery left in play, so this is not necessarily a safe place to be, even so. So I'm just taking another peek. There's the E75, but I don't know if he could even get through that gap anymore. So I'm out of immediate danger, but I'm aware I haven't seen the Death Star in a while, and that's what I'm trying to spot. And I have a little inkling that he might be trying to come round behind me, just based on the fact that he hasn't been seen in a while. Now, our Rheinmetall has gone off on his own and managed to die off on his own. The T57 Heavy and the 103 never really left the base area. And oh, hello! Yeah, and again, outrageous luck. Now, I did pull back, but I pulled back sort of against the wall and slowed myself down horribly. So that was not well done. That was, again, luck. And I know he's got a long reload, and it would have been nice to one-shot him, but I figured I had long enough. It was slightly risky, but that was more calculated. I figured I had long enough between him reloading that I could basically get forward, and either he'd have to come round and I could then shoot him, or else, as did happen, our arty finishes him off. So 11-11, I mean, it's remarkably even. That's their arty taking a pot shot at me. Now to deal with this enemy E75, who's the last heavy left on their team. He shoots the M103, but I've got his side and managed to bounce a shell even so. Well, that's just karma though. I mean, all those shots that went in my tracks and bounced on my turret when they shouldn't have. Yeah. It's only fair that somebody else gets a bit of luck in return. So we've got an Object 704, a T54, and the GW Tiger P left. I'm actually going to stay behind this rock just for a couple of moments, just to be absolutely sure I am not spotted by, you know, still lit up on the enemy artillery's minimap, because artillery can shoot the middle here from quite a wide variety of places. So I am fairly confident the 704 and the T54 will have stuck together. However, I am entirely wrong, and again somebody shoots my track, and that's the BL-10, by the way. 286 mil of penetration, 750 average damage, and my tracks just went nom and ate it. And I should be dead, but I'm not, because did I mention outrageous fortune? However, this is good in that it means our M103 and T57 are 2 against 1 against that T54. We can see that arty trying a speculative shot, but he's probably not going to be able to get me out of this angle, not where he is likely to be. So the T54's down, and I've loaded up a premium Hess shell in case he comes around the corner, but I'm not going to take my chances. Honestly, we have artillery, who has just indicated apparently he can't hit that guy, but we also have the T57 Heavy and the M103, both still alive as well. And maybe they aren't the best players, but they're good enough to know that if we know where this guy is and he's occupied with me, And he's as unwilling to come round the corner to me as I am to him, because he's a one-shot for me also. All I have to do is sit tight and wait for backup, and these guys are actually, they're competent enough that they, at this point, know to drive forwards. They're not still camping our base, which there are players bad enough that they would actually still try and do that. So the T57 nails him. It's now safe to go forward, and I'm going to switch to my non-premium Hesh, just in case I happen to get a shot at the artillery. Now, if I shoot the artillery in the superstructure, the ordinary Hesh should be more than enough, and if I get lucky I might even one-shot him. So I just auto-aim actually, which is not the best thing to do, to be honest. But I get really lucky, it does actually hit somewhere that it can pen, and bam! So, if you'd only seen the results screen, 4,069 damage, 2,389 assistance damage, 1,194 base XP, first class mastery, you'd think that was a pretty decent match. And based on the numbers alone, it was a pretty decent match. But yeah, having actually seen it, would you say that was all skill? I don't think so. It can be very tempting, just because of the way our brains work, to only remember those times when RNG just screws you and you get a chain of bad shots that misses, or even just one critical moment where it's out of your hands. There's a low penetration roll or a low damage roll or whatever, and you end up dying. But you can sometimes get matches like this as well, where everything just works out and keeps working out. And of course, you have to capitalize on all this extra life that the luck is giving you, the ability to stay alive longer, to do more damage, to get more kills. But at the end of the day, I really shouldn't have lived through that, should I? I really shouldn't have, and yet I did, and I came out top of the team and had a pretty good result for me in a medium tank, all things considered. So, if you enjoyed this masterful display of medium tanking skills, you can hit the like button, you can leave any comments below, you can subscribe to my channel, and as always, stay tuned for more.